pretty fast time she got in the trophy dash. I mean, it's happy to see. You know,
Kendall Irvine won a heat race.
There was a lot of strain. Like
this class.
Yeah.
This class is something right now.
It really
I
is.
mean, dollar for dollar from a fan's perspective.
Oh, yeah.
Best racing money can buy.
The price of admission is worth watching those street stocks.
You're absolutely right.
I couldn't have any more fun racing in that class. That is really fun and great people. Every single person in that class is friendly.
Now, let's talk about out of turn 4 when Evans ran up on you.
You mean Dakota?
Dakota
ripped my bumper off.
I saw that. Now, those guys are flying around there.
Yeah. Well, they always know because sometimes if that car, I was overheating, so I had to get it off.
A lot of guys did.
Yeah, but I always say to the guys, I'm going to stay high. You guys figure it out from there. At least that way, I'm not in anybody's way.
Yeah.
And of course, every time I say that, Dakota comes on the outside. You go, I had nowhere to go because he came around and ripped the.
Yeah, you knew he was. Yeah.
I knew he was coming. I'm like, come on, man.
So
go hit the water truck, Cole.
He's been struggling lately. Now here's a guy that was the points leader. He still is the points leader.
He's had some ignition problems. We put a new distributor in it. He's done a few other things like that, and he got it dialed in. But at one point, he had a bunch of stuff in the fuel cell of that car, and it got through the fuel system. So he cleaned it all out. But I think there's still some in that system because you could just hear it in that secondary block.
Yeah,
and then, like I say, you had ignition and a fuel problem on top of it. So, yeah, it's going to take some more cleaning. But, yeah, we got through that part. So, yeah, great race, a lot of fun. But, yeah.
He's thinking too much in the car again.
So now with the points the way they are, and with Dakota struggling a little bit lately, and by struggling, he's still in the top 5, but with 4 wins, and now finishing down in third.
I think you're going to see something pretty exciting.
Are we going to see it? Are we going to see a real tight point race at the end of the season for the championship?
Tight points race, and Dakota will not give up right now.
Oh, he doesn't ever give up.
No way, no. But I mean, he is thrown all week. He's spending every waking moment on this car. So him, Mac, Phil, everybody, they're really putting their knife to the grindstone there. They're working on it pretty heavy. So, yeah, it'd be exciting to see what happens this Saturday.
Well, as thrilling as the racing's been all season, it should be a pretty tight points battle in that division.
I think at the end of the year, the way things are going with this Blue Nightmare, and then you've got the 11 of Cannon, who's right there. He's second in points.
Yeah.
Now, it was a 5-point gap. It was only 5 points a couple of weeks ago. I'm not sure where it's at. Do you have current points? No?
I do not. I just printed it off.
So Dakota has 3 street stock wins. That's right. And he's got 1 or 2 in the IMCA stock cars.
Right.
Right. But he's still the points leader. I don't know where that gap is. I'm sure Joey does. If Joey can hit us up here on the Swear Trucking chat line, that'd be awesome. This is going to be the points race of the year all the way through the season to watch.
This is going to be one heavy battle.
It is. It is. And
there's going to be no weekends missed. There's going to be nothing. It's just going to be. It's going to have to be consistent.
You have to. And with this class, you drop out early in one feature, it's going to hurt you.
Yep.
It's going to hurt you because the way that thing is so tight. The last driver I can remember winning a track championship without winning a feature goes back to the 80s. And it was Bob Boyd.
But he was consistent all year.
Top 5 every single week against, the most competitive era of back then. They were called super stocks before they were late models.
Right.
Ever. So that tells you, you don't have to win every race, but you better finish. You better be consistent. It can be done. Joey Cannon is who I'm talking about. He's sitting second in points. Doesn't have a win yet. I'm telling you, that car will win before the season's over. I'll be surprised if it doesn't. You guys have seen how fast he is lately.
Yeah.
He gets right there, and it's like the snake jumps up and bites him. It's been a heartbreaker the last 3 weeks for him. But he comes back from the pack and still gets up there at top 3, 4, 5 cars, which he needs to do. He's going to keep that points race tight. It's been fun to watch.
Sure do.
So after our street stocks, what we have?
We have the sportsman class. Eric Lindquist, number 5. Andy Brashears, number 4. Number 3, Jeff Rash. Number 2, Ryan Emery. And number 1, Chad Slover. Now, the one thing I was going to bring up, and I've been really watching Alex Emery improve quite a bit.
When you say quite a bit, I would say Alex Emery has improved 1,000%.
Here's a guy that's never really been in a car.
Never really been in a race car, doesn't have a racing background, doesn't really know a lot about race cars. He's learned this on the go as a driver.
And he placed 7th.
Not bad.
Not bad at all.
Early in the season, when you watch a new driver and you see how hard they push the car or don't, early in the season I thought, this kid's going to struggle.
Mm-hmm.
This kid's going to struggle. Because right away, typically, and not every time, but typically you can tell who's got that killer instinct. Mm-hmm. Watching Alex Emery the first 4 or 5 races,
he's smoothing right out.
I did not see that. He's figuring out. He is getting faster. We'll see. He's got a lot of help. He's got a lot of help around him.
I just wanted to bring that up because I've been watching him. It's like, wow, this is pretty impressive. Pretty impressive. So anyway.
Okay, yeah. I was going to the Sportsman Cars. Tom Conway came back with the 72. I mean, we've seen that car just a few times over the last several years. I mean, here's a guy's got multiple championships at Willamette Speedway, and he's still running the same car he ran. I'm not kidding you guys. 20 years ago.
Really?
Mm-hmm. That car is over 20 years old. I think the tires on it are probably 3 or 4 years old.
Oh my!
And he goes out and qualifies second fast.
Mm-hmm.
He was second fast qualifier.
That's awesome.
Unfortunately, his night ended early when he hit the turn
wall?
4 wall hard. He got up in there in the turn 3, turn 4 area right at the apex and really smacked that wall. Ended his night. But it was actually kind of neat to see the old pink and black 72 back out on the track for those fans that have been around a long time.
Yeah, it was kind of funny because everybody kept saying that. And I'm like, where? I had no idea. I've only been around here for a few years,
right. So
I'm like, what? And everybody was telling me how nostalgic this was to them.
Yeah, and they're not lying.
Yeah.
I grew up watching that car. It's been out there a long time, guys.
Well, but like I say, it's good to see. You see some improvement, see things, people climbing, people doing good stuff. It's good, really good to see.
Absolutely. From our sportsman, we move into our
Super Sports. All right. Well, at number 5, we had Doug Elkins.
Now, Elkins finished 5th.
Yeah. That was a tough night.
This was a tough night for the Skyline Ford team.
B.J. Donofrio was right in front of him at 4.
And those guys were both involved in a couple cautions, had 2 against them. That race started out really bad for those guys. Once everything got settled down with this class, the racing got pretty darn good. Mm-hmm. And those guys had to still charge their way from the back. So Elkins, who I thought from watching the Trophy Dash and everything else was probably the guy you had to beat in that feature.
Sure.
I finished 5th.
Yeah. But it's the names we know.
Right.
In 3rd was Von Stone.
This guy. Okay, here's a guy.
Yeah.
You want to talk about somebody that's turned their program around.
Oh, yeah.
Von Stone has turned it around 100%. Here's a guy in the early season with the Swartz.
Yep.
Has struggled, had some of the worst luck in qualifying a couple weeks ago, slams into the turn 4 wall, tears up the right front corner.
Then went back out and did the same thing again.
Gets towed off, fixes the car. They bring him out for safety laps. His second lap, straight into the wall where he hit the first time and tore the front of it. From then on, whatever happened, they say they get faster when you bend them. He has been fast since that happened. I think that probably got all of his bad luck out of the way, too.
Yeah.
He led this race for a long time.
Really? Yeah, I didn't get a chance to see much of it. I just get my highlights.
He led a lot of this race, and it looked like at one point he was probably going to win. Then lap traffic happened.
Oh,
yeah.
That does happen. And then
he was keeping the car clean.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely, no doubt.
And number 2, we had Jeff Rash.
No surprise.
No surprise. And then number 1, Randy Barley, former track champion.
And that car was rolling the corner. Rolling it.
And this is the thing, and I'm glad you said that because I was going to say the same thing. But if you watch how Randy Barley drove that race, you would think you were watching a race at Douglas County or Martinsville. Drive the car into the corner, turn it, not slide the car in, not use the throttle to turn it, just kind of cruise in, turn the car like an asphalt car, rolling it right through, just like Sam was saying, just easing it on through. And when they got to lap traffic, his driving style, it paid off big time because there was some stuff that happened in front of him. He just dove to the inside and just cruised right around
I
him.
literally thought, though, when he came up on some lap traffic,
that was going to be a wreck.
That was going to be a wreck, and he was going to have his first big dent in that race car this season.
I agree with you 100%. We were up there. Joel and I were just kind of like, we're just waiting for it. And they made it out clean, but lap traffic changed the game.
He literally, that's why I love those open cockpits. I wish JJ took his roof off so I could watch him.
Yeah.
But literally, you don't even really see the wheel. Like, his steering wheel just kind of back, and if you had a video camera on me, you'd see that. But, I mean, it was smooth. It was smooth, just like he literally, like he didn't have to get very back and forth with it. He wasn't sawing the wheel. Yeah, it was crazy to watch.
Yeah, and it paid off. That's his third. Is it his third win?
I think so.
Second or third win of the year and he's the points leader. He's looking for his second championship in 3 years. So from Super Sports, we move into the
IMCA Modifieds.
IMCA Modifieds.
All right. Number 5, we had Craig Castle.
Mm-hmm.
Number 4, we had Justin Cady. And number 3, we had Dustin Cady.
Now, before you got here, we talked about that race.
Okay.
Did you get a chance to watch this?
No.
You didn't see those brothers on the racetrack?
They were duking it out.
My goodness. That was some of the best racing all night in any division. Those two dudes went at each other, and I'll tell you, if you didn't know, if you were just a fan, say you're visiting for the first time, or you don't know these guys as brothers, you wouldn't think those guys were even friends. They were doing it. I mean, they were going at it. Gloves came off, and not that it was dirty, but, man, it was hardcore. It was good racing. It was good racing. That was fun to watch.
That's that whole twin thing, though. I think that really plays into it because you kind of know what the other one's kind of going to do.
Yeah. How many times did those guys pass each other, Sam?
I lost count. I quit counting.
It was at one end of the track, one was faster than the other, and they were swapping spots, and it was fun, man. That was good racing.
It was in different parts of the track. They were passing each other too. It wasn't always in the same spot. Sometimes it'd be one and two. Sometimes it'd be the backstretch.
If you watch that race, if we go back and watch it, you'd see the 6M of Justin was clearly better on the south end, turns 1 and 2.
Oh yeah,
he was clearly better at that end of the track, where the 7 seemed to be a little better down at the other end. Straightaways, it was kind of like who got on the straightaway first was going to have that spot. I mean, it was good racing.
Yeah, it looks like it. Like I caught some of it. I just didn't see all that. Now in second place we've got Gray Ferrando and Bryson.
Bryson swept the weekend.
Swept the weekend.
That was an impressive run because Ferrando got out of traffic in the V13. He got out of traffic, had a lot of racetrack to work with, and this is the thing that hurt him the most. That race, there were no cautions.
No.
Yeah, it was flag to flag.
And Bryson, an open racetrack, nobody in front of him, as smooth as he is, the harder Ferrando drove, the farther away Bryson got. And Ferrando was fast. At one point, he started to reel him in. And then it was just, I'd say, about 2/3 of the way through the racetrack, or through the race, Bryson, I don't think he used his tires up as much as Ferrando, because that's when the gap started opening up again. And he drove to victory and swept the weekend. And, man, he was...
All I remember is there was a lot of number 13 cars in that race.
Yeah, there was. There was three of them. 3 of them on the track. Yeah.
And they were all within the same proximity.
Yeah.
So,
But that's the thing, though. Gray's probably one of the guys in that division that will hunt the track better than anybody else. He will usually start hunting it first, and talking to him, his driving gets quicker if the race progresses. So that's really when there wasn't a caution coming out, I'm like, but this really isn't playing into Gray's hands like it normally does when it's like that.
But if you look at how different Gray drove that race in comparison to Bryson never once had that car sideways.
No, I know. But that's what I'm saying is typically that's the race that Gray likes, where it's a good, solid, long green run, and he can get in his rhythm and get it going, and it just did not play into his hand.
Well, there's as good as he is, when you've got someone like Bryson ahead of you, you got to be mistake-free. You have to. One mistake is going to cost you. And flip-flop that. I mean, those guys were both, for the most part, running pretty close to the same line. with the exception of Gray trying to change his entry and running a little higher to keep momentum up through the late stages. It just, like you said, it didn't play into his hands, and Bryson drove to victory, and it was an impressive weekend for Bryson James.
Yeah,
From the super late model